Hello, sir. Hello. Welcome to In Talk Lens on episode 5, where we are going to discuss about organization growth and leadership. So, yeah. First, I would like to introduce my speaker, Mr. Mrighendra Lal Das, who is a CGM of SBI. He is also ISB alumni, and he has 35 years of rich experience in leadership roles. And he is already interviewed by 10 plus news channels. So, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Rishabh. I welcome all the viewers on your channel. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, fine. Everything fine.
Yeah. So let's start with the questions. So I would like to ask first a few personal questions, then we'll move to the topic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Rishabh.
Yeah. So since you are so consistent, like you have a 35 years of rich experience, so I would like to ask you how you are so consistent in your journey.
It is all about taking the people along. I feel that the team members I work with, they are always very loyal to me. They are very helpful to me. And I think as a team, I have always excelled because team has a trust in me and that keeps you going in the organization.
Okay, great. So what is your success mantra for this? I mean, as a youngster, how we should follow your journey, your path. So what is your real success mantra?
Be a team player. I think listen to the team, what they have to say. Set a goal for them, inspire your team to achieve the success. And I think the team will work for you to achieve the success. So whatever we are able to achieve, it is because of the contribution of the team members. Recently, this coronavirus has affected everybody, even the Kerala state. And State Bank of India, we contributed our 2 days of salary and given 100 crores to the PM Cares. Not only that, in Kerala state itself, we felt that since we are in Kerala, we should do something for the people in the state of Kerala. And I gave an appeal to my team members that from your salary, you spare something and contribute toward the Chief Minister's Distress Relief Fund. And you will not believe we could collect 6 crore rupees, which we gave to the Chief Minister in the Distress Relief Fund. So I feel that when you are sincere, the team is with you and team will always contribute with you.
That's a very, very great initiative to contribute towards the COVID-19, especially. This is a time at most when people need this the most. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being such a nice and humble person. Yeah.
Thank you.
So how would you describe your leadership style?
Basically, you see, leadership is actually the organizational management in which the leader is supposed to set the goals for their team members and share the vision that he has about the organization. And he also knows the processes to be followed for achievement of that goal. And he also inspired the team members to achieve that goal. So basically, it's a participative management through which both the team members as well as the leaders collaborate with each other and achieve the success.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let's start with the topic, which is organization leadership and growth. So I would like to ask you the first question about this topic. So what is an organization leadership?
You see, every leadership, like an individual, has some goals, some ambitions in life. And basically, the organizational leader set that goals, strategic goals, which has to be achieved by the organization. And as I told you earlier, that actually he knows the path also, how to reach there. He knows the processes also, how to go there. So basically, it is a sharing of vision. What you want to achieve with your team members. And once your vision becomes the dream of your team members, you can be assured that goal will be achieved.
Okay. As you said about the vision, so how would you like to define the role of a leader?
Basically, it is like, steering in a vehicle. The speed may come from the engine, but in which direction it will go, this is decided by the steering. So basically, the organizational leader is a kind of steering which steers the organization to a particular direction for the achievement of the goal.
Yeah, that's amazing because the leaders are one who drive the force and who motivates the people and community around them. So what should be the quality of organization leader?
Basically, he should be a people's man. He should be able to take his team along. The honesty and integrity of the leader should be beyond doubt. There's a saying that the Caesar's wife should be above suspicion. So a leader should be above any controversy, any suspicion about his integrity or about the sincerity of the purpose. He should have a strategic decision making. There's a lot of conflict management inside any team. So he should be effectively able to resolve the conflict in the team members whenever it comes. He must challenge the status quo, because what happens is that organization over a period of time becomes stale if it doesn't welcome the new ideas to come. So a leader must facilitate the new ideas to come and facilitate the innovations to come. Basically, he should be the incubation center for the innovations, new innovations. Because nowadays, with a lot of youngsters joining the organization, I think new blood are coming to the organizations. And they must be channeled in a proactive manner, in a positive way. Then only any organization can prosper. So a leader must be able to welcome the new ideas. In fact, there is an old saying that in Google, they welcome even the smallest of the officer giving some new ideas. And that they celebrate it as a Google moment. If somebody gives a new idea, they celebrate as a Google moment, and that is channelized all over the world in the Google platform. New youngsters who are coming, they should be given the opportunity, the platform to share their new ideas so that it can be inculcated in the organization. And communication skill is very, very essential. You must be able to communicate your dreams. You must share your dreams, what you want to achieve. And your team members should actually believe in your dreams. And your dreams should become the team members' dream. And if it happens, you can be sure that yes, the goal will be achieved.
Absolutely. As you said, there are tactics which leaders play to run the organization. So according to you, in any organization, is there only one leader or a multiple leader? And how they work together if there are multiple leadership roles?
You see, any organization will have multiple leadership. That can't be only one leader. It's only the difference of teams. There are various teams within our organization. Like take the example of State Bank of India. Okay, there is a top management team which is headed by the chairman of State Bank of India. And we are just a member of that team there. But come to the circle team, the chief general manager is the leader of the circles team. And the general managers, deputy general managers, and general managers, they are the team members. Similarly, in a network, the GM is the head of that team. And the other members are the members of that team. Going downwards, you will find the regional manager is the leader of, say, 40 branches approximately. And the branch managers are the team members. And similarly, at the branch level, the branch manager is the team leader. And the other staff members are the team members. So basically, it is at one place you are a leader, at one place you are a team member. How effectively you adjust to both the roles, that defines the success of any organization. But any organization will be successful when there will be facilitating factor for leaders to emerge. You should give them the facilitating factors like independent decision making so that they can take their decisions on their own. You should only guide them, but the macro management should not be done at the leadership roles level. That should be left to the team members to do that.
Okay. So as you said, like there is a chain of leaders, and you also explained the concept of Google movement. So why it is so important for an organization to develop a right leader?
You see, basically, as I told you, the growth of the organization will depend on the kind of leader it will have. If you have positive leaders, visionary leaders, the chances are the organization will shine. But if leaders have the parochial approach, obviously the leadership will shrink and the organization will shrink. So that is why it is very essential that you should develop the good leaders in any organization, give them the opportunity to blossom, and once they blossom, it will be good for the organization.
Okay. So since you are a CGM of SBI, you have a huge role under you. So as a leader, how do you monitor the performance of people? What that you have to lead?
As CGM of the circle, there are around 15,000 people working in Derby. Okay, we have organizational goals, which we set up, and these organizational goals have to be achieved. And these are various organizational goals in terms of, you say, deposit, advances, profit, NPA management, staff motivation, social responsibilities. Various areas are there, and these goals have been set by us. And there are various forums on which we review this. There is a performance review meeting, there is a structured meeting, there are various meetings which we conduct to monitor this performance. But the real success will lie on the fact that how much as a leader you are able to delegate. If we are able to delegate to the next team and allow them to do the way they want to do it things, only give the broad guidelines what is to be achieved, the chances are that they will come up to your expectations and they'll perform much better than what you expect. And so what I'm saying is not only delegation, but also monitoring of that delegation. People delegate and forget. They feel that once they delegate, their job is over. Now the next man has to do it. Delegation is very, very essential for any organization. But at the same time, how you monitor that person, that whether he has done the job in the right way or not, that is very, very important. So you should not only delegate, but also monitor to delegate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As you said, like we have to be consistent and you have to be monitor the role once you assign them. That's how the effective leadership works. So how do you delegate the responsibility effectively?
As I told you, there are the teams within teams. Okay. So basically, say at the circle level, I am the team leader. Then there is down below, there is a general manager heading a team. There is a deputy general manager heading a team. There is a regional manager heading a team. So different people are heading their teams. Give the job assigned to them and ask them, this is what I want broadly. And at regular intervals, you monitor the progress, whether this has happened or not happened. If it has not happened, what are the hindering factors? There may be some policy paralysis taking place. So if that is so, you have to address that. There may be some staff issues which they are facing. So you have to address that. So in between, you monitor the progress and also help them in removing those hurdles or bottlenecks which are coming on the way. And you will find that the results will be achieved.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, like the monitor and the hierarchy of the role. So according to you, what are the most important values that a leader should have?
As I told you, first of all is honesty and integrity. That is a very, very essential thing to have. Sincerity of purpose. People should not doubt the purpose. That is very, very essential. You should be a team people. You should be able to take your team along. You should respect the views of your team members. Sometimes what happens is a person who is very junior to you, but he has a great idea. You cannot brush aside him just because he is a very junior officer in the organization. He may be coming up with a good idea. So respect the views of everybody and then evaluate whether that is good or bad. Communication skills, it should not be only one way. Normally the tendency is that it will be from top to bottom. But in any organization, it is essential that it should also be bottom to top. So communication should also flow from the bottom. Because what happens is sometimes you design a shoe, but only the person who wears the shoe knows where the shoe pinches. So the bottom of the hierarchy is aware that what are the shoe pinches. Take their feedback because they have maybe a very important feedback to give. And once you are taking these feedbacks into the consideration, allowing the junior people to come up with their suggestions, come up with their ideas, so that the bottom-up approach for any organization.
So as a leader, as you said, there is a community, like you have plenty of people who are around you and you assign them a work. So how should a leader handle the disagreements with the co-workers?
Yeah, you see, disagreement is bound to happen because every individual is different. Every individual have a way of thinking. So disagreements are bound to happen. how you handle that disagreement, that is very, very essential. And for that, normally what happens is, in an organization, you try to brand the people. He's no good. So even if he's giving a good suggestion, you feel that he is just the habit of criticizing people. Okay. So I think you respect all these disagreements which are coming up to you. Evaluate that disagreement, whether that is for the better of the organization or it is just the individual opinion. And select which way you feel that organization is going to benefit. So best way is you discuss with that person and either you convince him or you get convinced. Both the ways you can remove the disagreement.
Yeah. Okay. Even there are a lot of audience who are genuinely liking this live interaction. So they have a comment for you. ML Das is a true leader and a man of a vision. So this is we got from Satish, who is our audience right now.
Thank you, Satish. So, thank you.
Yeah. So let's continue with the question. So how should a leader respond to the criticism?
Criticism basically people don't like. But actually, criticism is a feedbacking mechanism. There are certain things which you are not aware of in the organization. And when they criticize you, basically they are trying to give you a feedback. Now, this feedback could be a genuine feedback, which can improve the organization. Or this feedback could be a biased feedback because of his personal prejudices. Every criticism must be analyzed in the right perspective. First of all, it should be accepted with the right spirit. You accept that criticism, try to analyze that. If you feel that yes, what he is saying is good for the organization, implement that. But if you feel that it's a biased approach or maybe some personal grind to act, ignore them. But the essence is that every feedback must be accepted in the right way. You must accept that.
Yeah, absolutely. If there is a feedback, then definitely a leader should work on it and should improve the quality so that they can inspire the community around them and even help them to be a helping hand, basically. So, according to you, in a workplace, sometimes people feel that the merit is not rewarded. So, what is your advice to youngsters who are dealing into the situation?
Fully agree with you, sir. This is actually agitating the minds of most of the youngsters' colleagues. What happens is there are a number of people who are very, very sincere, very, very hardworking. They are working very hard in the organization. But when the time of rewards come, they feel that they have been left out. Somebody else has walked away with the cake. So what happens actually, that in an organization, there are a lot of people who are working very well. And it's a stiff competition which is going on. So what happens is you have a different characters in any organization. You'll find there are some work alcoholics. Day and night they'll work and they would feel that they will not speak, their work will speak. And work does speak because to the extent that the top management does come to know from his work, from his figures, how hard he has worked. But sometimes what happens, there are other type of people who are the parasites, sycophants. They will be with the bosses all the time, not performing anything. But when the time comes, he gets the cake because he is very close to the powers that be. So as a leader, it is very essential to know how to segregate between these two. One more thing which is very, very important here is to know there are two aspects of work. One is the results that you are producing, the productivity. The another is the relationship that you are maintaining. So if you plot a graph of the productivity on one axis and relationship on the other axis, okay. If you are high on productivity and low on relationship, the chances are that your work will be there, but it will not be recognized fully. If you are high on relationship, low on productivity, the chances are that your bosses will see through the game that you are not productive at all. So you have to be both high on the productivity and high on the relationships. Both these things are very, very essential. And that is why if you maintain a good relationship, you will be able to project what good things you are doing. Otherwise, it remains unrecognized at the level of the top bosses. So my advice to the youngster is that you should be high both on productivity as well as on relationship building. then only your work will be fully recognized.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, there are a lot of people who are appraising your leadership role. So there is a compliment which is like, ML Das sir is a great leader. He has taken our bank to new heights in our state Kerala, involving each and every staff in the progress. And also we got one comment: effective leadership by ML Das, CGM from Dinesh Kumar from Patna. Yeah. So we have
I,
a plenty of compliments for you. I must say,
I,
you're a
I
great
must
leader.
I
Thank
must
you so
like to
much.
thank all. I must like to thank all of them because I feel in Kerala also we are forming a good team here. In the time of crisis, COVID crisis and others, our team has come up very well. You will be glad to know that not even for a single day the banking was stopped in Kerala. All the branches, wherever the government has allowed, our branches were kept open for the service of the customers in Kerala. And staff members were thoroughly devoted into it. All these good works they have done in various parts of the country, particularly Kerala. We have distributed PPE kits, we have distributed masks, we have whole camps for food distribution, and all these things have been done by the team members. So entire kudos go to the team members of Kerala who has done a wonderful job during this COVID period.
That's pretty wonderful initiative which your employees are doing and which you are doing. We are very grateful to have you here and knowing about all these things. So thank you so much for this. And also, I would like to proceed for my next question. So, do you think that to succeed in organization, you have to be a workaholic person?
People feel so. But again, I will talk of a graph. If you put a graph of the output versus the time given for the job, okay, you will find the graph which, if you plot like that, what happens is initially, if you work more hard, your output will increase. But there will be a point when it will taper off because further work that you are putting, that is not adding to the output at all. And in the process, you get burnt out after some time. So for a leader, it is very, very essential that apart from your work that you are doing, you should also have some additional hobbies. You should devote some time talking to your family members. You should devote some time watching movies. You should devote some time pursuing your hobbies. Do something which can help your health, keeping your good health. So all these things are very, very essential. You should not be workaholic, but you should divide your time in such a way that at the time of work, you are at the best. And at the time of health-related areas, you should take care of your personal health also and the family also.
Yeah, absolutely. As a leader, you should know, like people should know how to balance the workaholic and their personal relation because the communication is very important in this journey. So
Right.
yeah, absolutely right. So proceeding to the last question. After that, we are going to take the questions from the audience. So audience, if you have any questions, you can just ask in the comments. So my last question to you is like, when one join or make any organization, what are the stages of dynamics through which one has to pass through?
If you see the group dynamics, how it works, suppose you are going to join an organization or any new friend circle. So what happens is first stage is called the forming, where people from different background comes and joins at a place. Okay. Then comes the storming, because within that organization there is a conflict. There are so many people vying for the leadership role. There are so many people trying to assert themselves, show their presence in the group. So there is a lot of storming takes place, a lot of disagreements takes place, and then comes the stage of norming, where a leader emerges. After all this storming, the leader emerges out of that. And everybody accepts him as a leader in that organization or in that group. And after that, the performing stage comes. Once this leadership is set, then the stage of performing comes and that group starts performing after that. So this storming process is very, very painful in any leadership role that you assume. A lot of disagreements will happen, a lot of struggle will happen. But after that process, when this issue is settled, you will find that group is ready to perform. and wonderful performance comes from that group.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's how leaders should take in charge, and they should be responsible, to segment the different groups and to lead into a right direction. So yeah, so let's start with the audience question, because today in my Talk Lens show episode 5 there are maximum, like, this is the largest number of people who have joined till now. So I would like to thank all of audience who are there right now. Thank you so much. And if you have any doubts, you can just proceed in the comments. So let's start with the question, sir. How to motivate workforce when performance is not incentive driven?
Yeah, that is very, very essential, particularly for the public sector organizations. Because private sector, you have a lot of incentive which is given, but public sector hands are tied up. Not many incentives are available there. And this is a real question which comes up, that how to motivate them. So money is one way in which you intensivize people. But there are various ways in which people can be motivated. So if you see the Maslow's theory of hierarchical needs, they say that physiological needs is the basic needs, first of all. You must have a place to live, you must have something to eat, and you must have clothes to wear. That is the physiological needs that you have. But once you have that, then comes the safety needs. That today you have that, all these things, whether it will be tomorrow or not. So you save for the future. For new things you do insurance, you do some savings to save for the future. Then comes the social needs. Because you need some friends, you need some family members. So you build up a family, you build up a friends, and they become the support group for you. But then comes the esteem needs. After all these things, you feel that is okay, but there should be esteem needs should also be satisfied. And esteem need are two aspects. One is that society should see you as a good person. So then your esteem goes up. And in your eyes also, you should be seen yourself as a good person. Then your self-esteem also goes up.
Yeah.
Okay. So after you achieve all these things, then the final is the self-actualization. Once you have all these things, then also you work. What for? Because for perfection. Like say Tata has everything, but still Ratan Tata works. Mukesh Ambani has everything in life, but still he works. Why does he work? It's a self-actualization. So similarly, in an organization, people work for various things. It's not only for incentive. But basically, the organization should be able to recognize their performance. That is the best thing organization can do for the employees to incentivize. Once you recognize their work, I think that motivation morale level automatically shoots. And at the same time, any organization should also be helpful towards the employees. If he is feeling some genuine difficulty, the organization will come up to help them. So all these things will motivate him.
Yeah. So I'm proceeding the second question. That is very brief and very deep answer. Thank you so much, sir. And this is very great question as well, because there are people who are very incentive based driven. This is a very effective way to motivate them and to bring a good value in them so that they can work for the organization. So micromanagement happens generally. How to strike a good balance between monitoring and micromanagement of a team?
Absolutely, you are right that a lot of times we do the macromanagement at every level. But I think by macromanagement, what happens is the individual creativity that is getting lost. Because maybe if you give them the independence to work, they can perform a work in a better way than you direct him to do so. So we should avoid macromanagement as much as possible. But sometimes we feel that we are better equipped to do things than the employee who is on the job. And that is why we force our wish on them. I think we should not do that. We should allow them to do only when they are not able to perform, then we should tell them or counsel them that how this work should be done. Yeah. But at the management level, at the leadership level, we should do the least macromanagement that is possible.
Okay. That's a great answer. I hope the doubt was clear from the audience. Yeah. So proceeding to my next question, what are the new skill sets are required for a leader during this COVID-19 time?
Yeah, COVID has thrown up a new challenge. It's a situation which we have never seen in our lifetime. And we are very little aware about these consequences of this COVID-19. But one good thing that has happened is that COVID has shown us the way how to live life, even in the COVID situation. And so what is required, first of all, is to appreciate the concern of your team members, concern of the customers who are coming there. Once you are able to appreciate that, I think rest of the things can be taken care of very easily. So right now, you appreciate, empathize with the customers who are not able to come out of their house and do the transactions. How can you facilitate it by customers sitting at home? Maybe digital is one option you can give them. That sitting at home, you can do some hand holding and tell them that you can do most of the things digitally sitting at home. You need not come to the branch. And at the same time, being in touch with the customers. We are organizing a lot of webinars through trade bodies here like Trivandrum Chamber of Commerce and Industry, then CREDAI, Builders Association, to appreciate the kind of problems they are facing and how can bank come to their rescue. A lot of ways you will find that right now MSME particularly is badly hit by this COVID-19. The shop is almost shut. So as a bank, we have, government has told us to provide them 20% of their limit without any assessment. Just give them. So we are inviting people to come to bank and avail 20% of loan without much documentation, very little of documentation, and without any appraisal.
Yeah.
And that is the way I think we should move forward to help the customers who are facing a lot of difficulties because of this COVID-19 situation. So through your channel, I will also appeal to my team members to be of help to customers who are coming to them, because they have a lot of issues right now in COVID situation. So emerge as a leader, as a situation leader, and help these customers who are coming to them.
Yeah, absolutely. That is pretty great, because as an entrepreneur or as a leader, people should help each other in this epidemic, because this is very crucial time for everyone. And if there is a support, then we can definitely move forward together in a right manner. Yeah. So I would like, so we got few more questions from the audience. So according to you, what is the most dangerous trait in a leader?
In fact, first of all, that some people feel that they know all kind of leaders. They feel that they know everything. They doesn't need to update. They don't want to revise. They don't want any feedback. Okay. So I think leaders will have to come out of that, because everybody is a learner in the first place, and we must appreciate the point of view that others are saying. So that self-egoism, I think, is one thing that we have to shed immediately. A leader should never have a self-ego. The second is that not allowing others to come up. It is like becoming a banyan tree, not allowing others to grow. Some leaders have that quality. They are great leaders, but they do not allow the other leaders under them to grow. We must develop the leaders under us to grow. That leadership should be always emphasized. And also that we must be, as I told you earlier, that innovations, we must go way to innovations. Let the new ideas, new innovations come. We should not block them. So these are the things that one should not do as a leader.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you said in a very right way. Like as a leader, they should encourage and they should nourish the growth of other people as well. They should be also a good listener. They should also accept the feedback to evaluate themselves as well. Yeah. Just a point from my side to add. Yeah. So proceeding to the another question, SBI has been doing CSR activities generously. SBI has adopted more than 500 villages. That's applauded. And how would you define any organization corporate social responsibility?
Basically, any organization is redundant if it is not in touch with the community they are belong to. So corporate social responsibility is one way to say thanks to the community. And that is how we take it, at least in State Bank of India, because we have undertaken various projects. One was this water supply to the tribal villages. Tribal villages were facing a lot of problems. So we provided the water facilities to all these villages. And right now they are completely independent. They don't have a scarcity of water. So similarly, a lot of innovative projects we have taken up in Kerala also. State Bank of Travancore here had the tradition of social circles, whereby they used to identify some good things to be done in the society, and we used to perform that. So that also we have started now, that we ask the branches to identify where you can help the community. So once your roots are in the community, the chances of your organization to grow is very, very high. So always my advice to my team members is always get connected to the roots. That is the way you can blossom, you can flourish.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this wonderful answer. So proceeding to the next question, what is your strategy to achieve customer satisfaction?
You see, since the formation of State Bank of India, we have been trying about the customer satisfaction. Initially, we were talking of customer service, then we said customer satisfaction, and now we are talking of customer delight. Okay, so there are various things we are doing at the moment to have the customer satisfaction. The first and foremost is sensitizing our staff members, because we always believe that we are really blessed to have been given the opportunity to serve. This is one thing that I think always keeps us floating, that we have the ability, we have the duty to serve the people. How best we can serve, that will give us more satisfaction. So our employee must get the satisfaction that they are able to serve the people very well. And that is what we do a lot of sessions with our staff members, telling them that how to serve the customers well. So earlier, as you know, that we were a Sarkari bank earlier. Even now we are a Sarkari bank, but our attitude is not like a Sarkari bank. We are very much pro-customers, we are very much customer friendly, and you will feel that our customer complaints have almost gone down. In fact, the other day I was talking to the banking ombudsman, and I told him that I want to make your role redundant, because I want that none of the complaints should come to you. All the complaints should get resolved at the bank level. And I'm happy to note that we have drastically reduced the complaints at our level. So I think once at the branch level you are able to address the complaints of the customers, there won't be any complaint at the bank level. So that is what we are noticing right now, and I'm sure that we'll get more success in this area of customer satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to make a customer satisfaction in order to be a good organization. We have to work on the feedbacks, and I mean we have to balance the both, like our needs as an organization and customer satisfaction. So it should be way more balanced. Then only we can improvise it, because sometimes customers also demand too much, and that obviously as an organization no one can give. So there should be a balance between both of them. Yeah. So absolutely. So how we got one more question. How should a leader behave when a fraud is identified related to credit?
You know, bank basically we are dealing in credit, deposit and credit. Okay. So credit is one of the essential ingredient for the banking. If we will not do credit, we will not have income. So that is why we are very liberal in giving the credit. But sometimes the customer commits the fraud. They, for example, say they'll submit the fake papers, fake balance sheet, title deeds, okay, and thereby they take money from the bank and a fraud will be committed. They will not repay that loan. So whenever any fraud comes at the bank level, we do a detailed inquiry into that. Whatever the lapses committed by our staff members, whatever the fraud methods committed by the customers. So again, when that inquiry comes, we take a look whether this is a routine in nature employee negligence, or there is a commission by the employee or collusion by the employee. Okay. That distinction is made because sometimes, most of the time, rather, I would say that staff members are innocent. Just because some negligence has happened, this fraud has occurred. But otherwise, they were not beneficiary of that fraud. They had no collusion in that fraud, and they were not a party to that fraud. But still, their names comes there, and he gets the harass in the sense that maybe he may have to face the suspension initially, and then inquiry goes on to see whether actually he was involved or not. But one thing is very clear right now, because bank is very, very pro-customer. If the bank feels that fraud has occurred not because of the collusion of the staff members, but by the fraudsters who are the customers, the bank is very liberal in that. You'll see that so many NPA happens in the bank, but we hardly take action against anyone. But when it comes to fraud, then bank has a zero tolerance for fraud. Bank doesn't tolerate fraud. So in order to ensure that our staff is not in collusion with the customer, we have to have a detailed inquiry system is there, which employee will have to go through to see that he is actually not involved. But if he is not involved, through your forum, I can assure them that nothing will happen to him. Nothing will happen to him. Bank will come to their rescue. If there is no bona fide or no gross negligence, bank will definitely come to the rescue. Employee will not suffer because of that.
Okay. So I hope all the questions were answered from our speaker. So proceeding to the next part, which is a rapid fire round and one word. So let's start with this. And thank you so much for answering all the questions of the audience. Yeah. So let's start with the question. So who is your favorite leader and why?
Jawaharlal Nehru or Indira Gandhi. So they gave a shape to this nation.
Okay. So school or college?
College, you really grow up, you have a lot of independence to do, and you really enjoy your life in the college. At the same time, pursue your dreams.
Okay. I would like to tell my audience, even they have a one-word question or any rapid-fire question, they can also ask in the comments. And you guys also are a part of this community or a talk show. So you can ask this rapid-fire questions in the comments itself. Yeah. So proceeding to my next question. What do you prefer, logic or creativity?
Creativity always brings the best in you.
Okay. Which language you would like to learn?
Malayalam. I'm already trying for that.
By Malayalam, sir?
That's a good way to connect with the people of Kerala.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So we got a question from the audience. ISB, PSB or private?
Obviously PSB. Let me explain this. What happens is people always compare the public sector banks with the private sector banks. Because on profitability parameters, on NPA parameters, the private sector banks appears to be far ahead of the public sector banks. But in the process, what they forget is the work that is being done by the public sector banks. You go to airport, you find the airport is excellent. Yeah. Whose contribution is this? Who has given the loan? You travel on a road, a better road, 4-lane road. Who has financed these contractors? You see 24 hours power generation in your house. Who has financed this power sector? Obviously, all these things have been done by the public sector banks. And in the process, sometimes what happens is we do get NPAs in the process, because infrastructure, it's a long-term project. The profit will not come immediately. So in the process, we sometimes accrue NPAs, extra NPAs, which affects our profitability. But then the public will always have to keep in mind that it is the public sector banks who are doing good for the people, for the nation. And we work for the nation, not for the profitability alone. While other private sector banks only hanker after profit, the public sector banks always go for the nation building. And that is why we undertake all these activities which are not very remunerative. We do the Jan Dhan account. We open the Jan Dhan account. A huge numbers, crores of Jan Dhan account we have opened for the poor people, where the profit is not there. We do the insurance for these poor people. Give them the insurance, go to their houses, give them the insurance, which is not remunerative. But all these things is done by the public sector banks because we are into the nation building exercise.
Yeah, absolutely right. Like public sectors are the one who builds the nation, and they have their first thought to make the nation more. They help nation to build very strongly in terms of economy, in terms of development. So yeah, absolutely right. So proceeding to my question, what is your favorite hobby?
Reading books. I read books and talk to my children. I love talking to my children.
Okay. So right now, which book you are reading?
7 Habits of Highly Successful People. I'm just about to finish that.
Okay. Amazing. Yeah. So if you could be of any nationality, what it would be?
Obviously Indian. There's a great pride in being an Indian.
If you have to prefer other than Indian, so what it will be?
Again, Indian.
Okay. So my next question is, what is the better thing, like certificate or experience? Which thing you will prefer, certificate or experience?
Experience. I think certificate can get later on also. Experience is more important.
Okay. So yeah, we got one more question from the audience. Beach or mountain? Which you will prefer for the holiday destination?
Mountain. It's always difficult and enjoyable.
Which profession you will choose other than finance if you have an option?
Cooking. I'm a good chef. I cook my food very well.
Okay, that's great. So what is your favorite dish which you like to cook the most?
I think chicken. Basically chicken.
Okay. From 3 of them, what we will choose? Morning, noon, or night?
Morning is the time you are very fresh and you enjoy this morning very well.
Okay. So we got a few questions from audience. Which assignment you like the most?
I think the present assignment. I am the CGM of Kerala Circle, and this is one assignment which gives you the opportunity, the freedom to plan things in your own way and excel. And in a number of parameters, we are doing very well in the country. So this is one assignment. My team members are very nice. They are very responding very nicely. So this one assignment, I'm really excelling.
Even we are proud of that, how you are building the nation from the bank. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So proceeding to the next question, who from our audience, who is your favorite hero?
Of course, Shah Rukh Khan. But earlier, I used to appreciate Naseeruddin Shah very much for the kind of roles that he played. I think you youngsters may not be knowing much about Naseeruddin Shah, but he was excellent.
Your favorite movie?
Chak De in India.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty motivating movie when it comes to
Yeah, it's pretty motivating, and it's all about the team building. How he builds the team, how he performs in the team, and you remember that famous dialogue that तुम्हारे पास ये 80 minutes हैं और ये 80 minutes तुमसे कोई नहीं छीन सकता है. That's pretty motivating.
Yeah. So one more question from our audience. One advice you wish you had got in your younger days.
I think it is as I told you earlier that for excellence you need both productivity as well as the relationship. I always believed in the younger days that it's only your performance which is going to matter, nothing else. But then now I feel that somebody would have given me the advice earlier that yes, you need to be good on relationship also. Perhaps that would have been much better.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So proceeding to the another question, consolidation of banks, good or bad?
It is good. You know what happens is that when you go for the international settlements, There they say that what is your balance sheet size? And if you have a good balance sheet size, the chances are that all your settlements will be accepted. All the big LCs or BGs that you issue, that will get done. So consolidation is the order of the day. And secondly, what happens, the economy of a scale. The economy of a scale increases once you have the consolidation. Like take the, in Kerala, we merged with SBT. So basically we had so many branches, we amalgamate some of the branches, and the economy of the scale has increased. With the more volume is coming, with the same manpower, we are having the list more volume. So consolidation is essential.
So my last question to you is like, what is your one bucket list you would like to complete?
Right now it is related to Kerala Circle only. We have different plans for the Kerala Circle, and I think we are right on the way. So I am sure we are going to achieve that.
Okay. Anything related, any bucket list related to your personal life or about your family, anything? Not related to work, related to your personal life.
No, family, all is well. All is well, and I'm happy with the family. So I think right now I'm concentrating only on the job profile.
That's great. That's great. So yeah. One more question. What motivates you to to be a leader and to be so workaholic and to be so consistent towards your work? What is your motivation?
Yeah, it's passion to excel. I personally feel that even if I believe in that excellence, so I feel that even if 10% are competing, I am one of them. Sometimes in Olympic, you find it is difficult to find that in the 100 meters, who put his foot first, and they go for the photo finish. So I believe that if you do a photo finish, I'll always be one among them. So it's a passion to excel. I think that is always, it keeps me in good state.
Okay. So one last question I would like to ask from my end. So what is your advice for young growing leaders who want to be a leader, who want to be an influencer? So what is your one piece of advice for them?
Yeah, particularly as I told you, be sincere. Sometimes be sincere, be passionate about your job. Sometimes people feel that they have become rudderless. The organization is not acknowledging the good work that he is doing. But you will find that organization always watches, and at one point or the time, you will definitely get rewarded. So don't get discouraged if you feel that organization is not rewarding you just now. They have never ignored you, and they'll come to your rescue. So keep your passion intact and work with passion.
Okay. So thank you so much. I would like to end this session. And thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this wonderful talk show. And I hope the audience also enjoyed this session, the way everything went well and the interaction. And sorry for the technical issues which we faced in between the talk show. So thank you so much, sir. I hope you are having a great quarantine and all the best for your work. Yeah. So thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of this talk show. Yeah.
Thank you, Rishabh. It has been a wonderful show. I also thank your audience, because they are a wonderful audience. A lot of questions were asked. I don't know whether I have been able to answer them properly or not, but definitely I enjoyed it the most. And I must thank all of them for joining this show. And I thank you also. You are a wonderful host, I must tell you.
Yeah.
And you always keep your guest in a very comfortable position. That is the best thing that we have. So I wish you all the best for your future shows. Yeah, wish you all the best for your future shows. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed today's session, and I hope this was very interactive session for you guys, and I hope the concepts and doubts were clear from my questions and from the audience question as well. Thank you so much for being a part of this talk show, for joining this community. And and today we marked the largest audience for this session. So thanks for that. Credit goes to you who spread the word about this session, and thanks a lot. Thank you so much for your lovely wishes. And next week we'll be back again. So stay tuned. Have a nice day. I hope you guys are enjoying the quarantine. Bye. See ya.